talk about next?
Ross, I want to let you take over.
Well, actually, I kind of wanted to breach the subject here with some of the people out there because they probably really don't understand what's going on. Our judicial system is not. It's not just that it's corrupt, but it's been perverted into something that it's not supposed to be. What's been going on for many, many years is they've been creating the government, the legislature of the state of Nevada has been emulating the infrastructure of the federal government. Unfortunately, the federal government's infrastructure is completely different than ours. Okay, and the reason for that is because in the federal level, they have territories and possessions that are under military rule, and the Constitution, in other words, the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments, don't apply to those areas. Mm-hmm. So if you go to Puerto Rico, the people in Puerto Rico that's a territory of the United States, those people do not have the right to a jury trial unless Congress says they do, and those people do not have the right not to be convicted of an ex post facto law like we do here in the United States. And what happens is that things are completely different. Now, some of these cases make their way to the Supreme Court of the United States, and what happens is they decide them, like the Heller decision, for instance. Washington, D.C., that's a territory of the United States. The Constitution doesn't apply. In other words, the Bill of Rights does not apply in Washington, D.C. This is where a lot of our really, really bad decisions come from, is from territories or possessions of the United States. Then if you go to the United States Code, in the United States Code, and I'm not going to get into particulars right on the radio, but in the United States Code, it tells where the United States government gets territorial jurisdiction. And one of the things they cite that gives them territorial jurisdiction is any corporation formed in any state or possession or territory in the United States. So corporations are under territorial law, like a military type law. In other words, they're a creature of the state. They were created by the state. You weren't. So getting back to this...
They're also an artificial person.
They're an artificial person. A corporation is actually defined as a person, an artificial person, okay? So they're a completely separate person. So when we were talking the last time we were here a little bit about that water case that I've been monitoring, I think it's John Basta and Frank Maurizio versus Jason King, the state water engineer. And one of the problems they're having there is that Jason King says he has jurisdiction over all water above and below the ground. He says the state owns all the water above and below the ground. But when somebody asked him, do you own all the water on the shelves at Walmart? He said, well, that's ridiculous. Well, no, that's what you just said. Mm-hmm. So your statement was ridiculous. But the issue is more refined than that, and that is that the United States District Court in Las Vegas held a hearing on some water issues called the Bergman case. In the Bergman case, they said the state water engineer doesn't own all the land above and below the water. In fact, he doesn't own anything. The state doesn't own anything. It's owned by the people. The people of the state of Nevada own water under the land, and the state holds it for them in trust. But see, people get confused, when they start, heading up these agencies, and it's mine.
Well, the wardens do it in the prisons. This is that's my window uncovering.
Well, preachers do it in the pulpit too. It's my ministry. Yeah. When you start saying it's my ministry, I don't think you're talking about the Lord there in that house. That's for sure. But my point of making that is that so words get twisted. They twist all these words all around. For instance, in that case, the Bergman court said that the state of Nevada doesn't own all the water above and below the land. Okay, they only own the water above and below the land that is not appropriated, which means it's public land. Okay, now, so that brings us back to the issue now. Well, federal public land, state public land. We've got all of these multiple issues. They're all overlapping. They're all making different arguments. And it's just way too confusing for most people. They just can't unravel all this. It's difficult. It is even difficult for people that do it for a living. Now, what Gary's done, I can tell you on his case, is simply amazing. But he's got that kind of a mind. He's got a very analytical mind. And Gary's he's an inventor. He's involved in all kinds of scientific things. So he can process stuff like that. It's easy for him. His mind just when you start burning those neural pathways. and stuff, and you start actually getting faster and faster and faster and better at analytical things, especially when you're taking science, you're putting things together. You've got to look at the big picture, then sometimes you got to, look real close at the little picture, then you got to come back out and see it all fits together. And some people can do that, like a snap of a finger. That's scary. But most people aren't built that way. They're just not built that way. I've been real lucky. I'm a great test taker. I took my college entrance exams with less than an hour's sleep, and I scored in top 1% in a couple of the areas. And some of the other areas I didn't score so well, but I did really well. And I was even shocked. I thought they, got the wrong test or something. But no, I did it. I'm a good test taker.
You see where we have a problem with the state water engineer? We have a commissioner, Dan Shinhoff, and I'm friendly with him. I don't agree with everything he does as a commissioner, but as a friend, he's okay kind of guy. But he says that the state water engineer is God.
Well, he's not, and
definitely not.
But let me put it to you this way: He is God, just like Jehovah is the God for certain people, and just like Ishtar or some other god is a god for some other people. So my point is that what is the true authority of the state water engineer? You look at the statute in the 534 or 33 and 34 and 35 section, I think, are the state engineer statutes, and you look through there and it says the definition of a person. Okay, because when they say any person who, well, when you look at the definition of a person, it talks about corporations, it talks about government entities, it talks about utilities. It doesn't say any natural person, and in fact, I saw the last reply brief that was done, and in their reply brief on that case, they said specifically in 1985, the legislature took the word natural person out of that statute. So it was intentionally removed. And yet, the state engineer is arguing that it doesn't have to be there, they can put it in there themselves by using another statute.
It reminds me of Moses of the parting of the water.
Right, but how did they take it out? They just took it out, so nobody knows about it.
No, it's right there. They know about it just like they should know about all this stuff. They just ignore it. They ignore all this stuff. It's not about doing the right thing. It's not about following the law. These people swear oaths to support and defend the Constitution. I can tell you right now, not one of those legislators has even read the Constitution, probably up there all the way through. Now, you've got some that are attorneys, and I make bets with licensed attorneys frequently, and I win money because they don't even know what it says. And Article 4, Section 3, Clause 2 deals with territories and possessions of the United States and says Congress shall make all needful rules. That means there's a reason why they stuck those guys in Guantanamo Bay. They stuck them there because why? The Constitution doesn't apply. Now, Bodamine, who was one of the detainees there, they let him file a writ of habeas corpus, but they did it for a good reason. He was in the United States before he was taken to Guantanamo Bay. So he was living here, he resided here, they physically removed him and took him to a possession or territory, same thing, military installation. It's all under military law, okay, all of it. People need to read the insular cases. They don't teach those in law school.
But they let him do it because the law says he can. The problem here is they're telling us the law says you can't do it, and we're not going to let you do this. And they don't prove it to you, like the judges in Pahrump. You have to just take what they say to you, and you don't have any recourse. And I don't believe in that.
Well, here's what's going on. There's an old saying that words and sound paint pictures in people's minds. Now think of this. So I put this ad on, and I put the music to it, whether it be soft music, whether it be rap or what have you. I bring in a few little kids, and I hold their hands, and I walk down the street, and I play like I'm the family man, and I'm your Joe that you need to elect. What about the academic acumen? What about putting the guy to the test? Are you really qualified for that position? Or are you just going along with the status quo, meeting in the back room and picking up a check? These are the way in which we have to change things. I don't think children should ever be exploited in political arenas and commercials and ads. That is so shameful. When you see this guy throwing a football with his children, hey, those things are lovely and everything else, but put them on a philanthropy track. Take it out of the politics end of it, and stop swindling the people out of their vote. Because that's how they're winning people over. Oh, yeah, I like him. Look at him. He's just a soft, mild man. They didn't realize that he just did a whole bunch of people in a back room, you know what I mean, and sold out the citizens. So you got to strip all that away, and then you got to hear the bad rap of the slander that's going on. I would not vote for any of them that's going to slander each other and bring dirt out about each other. Because if it's dirt here, it's dirt there. So guess what? Goodbye, everybody. We're going to bring somebody in that we're going to make transparent, and the citizens are going to have some kind of an action committee, and we're going to see what he stands for and what his qualifications and capabilities are. Just because he got a degree don't mean he's any kind of degree-minded. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes the most educated are most dangerous because they can manipulate the rules better than the next guy. And you don't want a manipulation of your rules and laws. You want somebody that abides by them.
I did an interview with Newsweek about 10 years ago, and they asked me if I had a PhD, and I said, yeah, there he is. He works for me. So there it is, you know.
We need to take action. We need to show people we are especially the young people in Pahrump, are being sacrificed for other people to make money. We need to show that we can beat them, so people have, you know, they have something to look forward to, that their life is not going to be destroyed because of what these people did to gain power.
You know, because I like you, and I've come down here now. I've
Five, 6 times?
I've had 6 visits to Pahrump. I've not just drove up here on this dirt road to the radio station, but I drove around Pahrump, and I looked around, and I listened to people talking in the casinos in different places. And I have some plans to maybe commence with a very powerful opportunity to take and get Pahrump on a map for attracting tech companies here.
That's what we
All
need
right.
here, because it doesn't do any polluting or anything like that.
and-
Don't use a lot of water.
And I'm working on the Viral World apps, and I'm working on EVA. EVA stands for eVault Apps. And what EVA can do is get away from, finally eliminate the anti-hacking, and it carries an insurance policy with it. And we can actually disintegrate the material that gets hacked, and we change the passcodes rapidly. And I was able to get a group of programmers, and I got a group of techie guys out of the Silicon Valley, and we just had some meetings again today, and I said, listen, I found this little town named Pahrump, Nevada, and I see some good people in it and some great opportunity. I would like to help sync some of the servers or the technology there and give Pahrump some of that recognition that this was born out of it. This thing that we're involved in doing can be bigger than Facebook or Google or the World Wide Web. It could actually reinvent the World Wide Web with the Go Viral apps. And it can attract a tremendous amount of volume of people reviewing it daily. And if we take and we revamp Pahrump and we recreate it into a website and talk about the good things of Pahrump, but we've got to get rid of the trash first and all the garbage and all the illegal crap going on. And we have to install our political leaders that are correct. They're faith-going, they are family-oriented, but at the same time, they care about human beings. Okay? And they address the issues of why people are doing the things that they're doing. Why are people breaking into people's homes? Why are they on drugs? Why are they doing what they're doing? It's because a lot of it boils down to they're bored. They don't have a job. They don't have money. The kid wants Nike shoes like the dad's got a job bought for his kid. And if he don't have them, he's going to go take them. You see?
Correct, yeah.
Because it's even a form of bullying. Look what I got and you don't have. So those are some shameful things that are actually going on in this town that I see and I hear. And it's repetitious. It's continuing.
The biggest problem with this community is poverty.
So, but I've got an opportunity to we locate a nice piece of land. Maybe we attract a bond issue. We don't have to give away the city bonds and the tax abatements and crap that our governor has done for Ian Musk and different people, and ultimately the citizen's going to pay that tax bill, and they're only going to do it by keep raising them and bleeding them of their paychecks. All that's got to stop. We've got to put government back the way it should be in the three separations of government, and anybody that violates that, there's no tolerance for that. You're gone. The citizens of the state will not tolerate that. And it doesn't matter if you're Mormon, you're Zionist, you're Catholic, or what. Let's set the religious beliefs aside, and let's take and let's reevaluate, reassess things, and let's put it back proper. Let's bring some judges in that are compassionate and understanding instead of heartless and what's in it for me and forget you. You guys got a couple of judges there that, hey, maybe through the years people have liked them and keep electing them and allow this governor to put them in or do whatever they've done. These people need to go.
Yeah, see, they love Lane. Well, if you talk to most people, they think he's fantastic because he started the drug court. He saved their kids who did something bad from going to jail. So he's a hero.
Yeah, well, he's also signed orders that allowed the former public administrator, Robert Jones, to go in and take dead people's guns and have Bernie Yarborough, and I'm going to mention the names, living at his house, selling the guns to the gangs that are stolen from dead people. Now, does that make you a proud person? No.
They don't know it.
Oh, he knows it.
Oh, he knows it, but the people that...
The people don't know it here.
They don't. They think he's funny. He jokes around while he's sentencing somebody to 22 years in jail.
Hey, that's all a facade. That's a front.
Yeah.
You got to tear that front down. You got to go back and you got to rebuild that house, folks. And you need to put the latest state of the art in it, right?
That's right.
And I see that there's such an opportunity here to bring Pahrump back to a forefront of a town that can really prosper. It's beautiful, mountains and everything around here, highways that go to the Sin City. I mean, and there are people that will travel here. There's all types of little forms of transportation. Listen, there's no reason why in the next 10 years that this town can prosper into something incredible, and the real estate values just be in such huge demand.
When I came here in 1998, this was the fastest growing rural community in the United States for 5 straight years. In 2000, because it was growing, they put the Regional Planning Commission in place, and they started making all these rules and regulations, and by 2004, people realized it cost me more money to open a business in Pahrump than it would in LA County. And we don't have 1/10% of the population. Why would I come here? So greed stopped the growth.
Yeah, sometimes greed's worse than cancer. It goes towards your brain, don't stop at your kneecaps.
Exactly.
and we've got to stop it at our kneecaps. And we've got to turn all this around into a positive so that when we're speaking around the world, people are happy in Pahrump. People are helping each other in Pahrump. The guy blew his tire on the side of the road and 20 Pahrumpians pulled over to help him. Person walking along the side of the road, one shoe on and one off, and people not passing them by but stopped to help them. People that are hungry, people living in streets.
And I'll tell you, that
gotta
goes.
help.
You can go to a casino in Vegas. Okay, and this is what you're talking about. You go to a casino in Vegas where they sweat every penny, and you can see the dealers, they're not smiling, not joking around. You go to a casino that's easygoing, and the people are joking around with you that work there, you see they're having a good time, you automatically have a good time, and you want to spend your money there. And that's how we got to get Pahrump to be. When they come to Pahrump, everybody that does business should be happy and want to be helpful.
Hey, I've been down here 6 times, and I stopped at a couple of casinos to eat or use the restroom, because I got here early. I bet I'd see 50 people in the place. How's that place stay open?
Oh, we got big problems here. We're losing population like crazy. They keep saying that there's the town board, and we got them voted out because they were a disaster, but they used to tell people there was 38,000 people here. There's not 38,000 people here.
And I got to tell you something else. It's like I don't know what happened here, but there's a lot of junkyards around here. Or they look like junkyards. And all that needs to be cleaned up, or all that mess stuff needs to be helped out. I don't know what happened around here, but man, I feel like I'm driving the back roads of Kentucky.
Well, I don't understand. Like, you see where we are up here? Now, this is a beautiful area. You could look down over all of this valley.
Tremendous potential
At
here.
night, why did they put the commercial property up here? Who set that up? You put the nice houses up on the side of the mountain looking down over the valley. You don't put commercial stuff up here.
Listen, you got a nice building sitting right down at the base of here that's vacant, that I looked at on the left-hand side as you're coming up this
Oh,
way.
yeah.
And we're looking at maybe approaching people to either acquire that building or do something with it and put the start of the basis of one of the highest recognized tech companies that's going to be coming into the marketplace in that building. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And so there's tremendous potential there.
The problem in Pahrump now is the money is in grow houses, so everybody's they're throwing all their people out, and they're putting, anybody has a warehouse becomes a pot farm.
Well, let me give you an example of something. See, that's what they may think. Let me tell you about a company called Snapchat. Snapchat, they take pictures of you and they put it out on their site, their platform, and it disintegrates in about 15 seconds. It's gone, right? So it revives itself. Now, Facebook went to Snapchat and said, hey, we want to give you $3 billion for the company. They said, oh no, we're not going to sell it. So Snapchat declined. Facebook went out and bought a lookalike company, Snapchat, and paid $16 billion for it. Now, I want to tell you, you stack up all your grow houses and everything you think you're going to get, and there ain't no way they can even make a third of that money in 5 years.
Because the people that are
In
running stuff
growing.
the people that run stuff in Pahrump, most of the politicians, not all of them, they have a small little window of thought. They look at, oh, we can make X amount of dollars for this and X amount of dollars for that. They don't see the real picture. They're not looking in the vault of the gold at the Federal Reserve. They're looking at a little box in a bank.
Well, I'll say this to you. You ever walked into a bank and they got a sign that says, we need your pennies because they got a shortage of pennies? Well, the reason why is because those pennies don't circulate. It's almost like a monopoly set. You sit down with a group of people and they become powerful because they get Baltic Avenue, they get all the railroads, they get all the hotels, motels. Well, guess what? In that monopoly set, when you run around that monopoly set, it all winds up with one guy, the game's over. You got to have repetitiveness. You got to keep it going. So you got to keep circulating the pennies. And then you got to make them work as they land. Or somebody's going to have a go-to-jail card or something.
Yeah, well, a lot of them have a get out of jail free because who their relatives are.
That's right.
But we only got a couple of minutes. What we need to do is we need to clean up the justice system here and the political system here before we can bring
And you got to fix
good
that first.
in. It's got to be
Yeah.
fixed first. So we got about a minute each. What do you want to close out with?
Well, Ross?
Well, I think that Gary would be a good consultant for your planning people here in Pahrump, because one thing after getting to know Gary a little bit, he has a mind for money, knows how to raise money, knows how to do things business-wise, and this is one of his talents, that he's developed over the years and been trained by some people that were really good at it, so and knew what they were doing. I mean, there's a lot of people who get trained by people, but a lot of them don't know what they're doing in the first place themselves.
They say
so.
Indiana's Gary's best salesman.
So
Gary
what
was
we need
Indiana's
is
best salesman.
we need to start a private economic development company here and keep the government out of it.
Common law development.
That's what we'd like to do.
There you go.
That's what we'd like to do. I was just talking to Gary on the way up. I have one of these old books, 1969 college textbook, Modern Corporate Finance. Right in here we're talking about forming trusts that have no statutory control. But if you have one of those trusts, the state of Nevada will say, not in this state.
David Rockefeller has a Reg E blind trust, and you can't even pierce it. So that's a Rockefeller special.
Okay. I really want to thank you guys for coming in again. You give the people of the community a lot of knowledge. You give me a lot of hope that we're going to get stuff done here, because if we don't clean this place up, we can't make it good again. Remember, like Trump, maybe you like him or not, but he's saying, make America great again. And I think we could do something with this community.
And hey, listen, there's a lot of nice people in this town. Not all bad people. It's the bad people that are really running this town. They're the bad people.
And we gotta clean that up, and we gotta give the good people some hope again.
And I'm not saying that bad people cannot change. And they should be given an opportunity to change. But if they're not willing to change and they want to continue doing the deliberate mistakes and the rubbish that they're doing, then they gotta go.
Okay, I wanna thank you, we're gonna close it out, and thanks for everybody listening.
That's good, huh?
Yes,